Recording almost live from deepest, darkest Appalachia. Nestled in the hills of eastern Kentucky, in particular Prestonsburg. It's the MWO podcast on Patreon. Hosted by the creepy Kentuckian and Uncle Bill. Take it away, Bo.
My name is Boz. Boz Rotten, that's my full name. Piece of shit, yeah, the most, it's the same thing.
Howdy, folks, and welcome. It's the May 18th edition of the Midweek Obliteration here on Patreon. I am the creepy Kentuckian, and not really a familiar face, but if you've been in the chat, you know this dude, Dirk, a.k.a. Subjective Perspective Collective. I got it. Yes, SPC.
You got it right.
What's going on, man?
You're working, man. It's hot. A little bit.
Yep, it's definitely starting to warm up in the South. Night of the Living Dead 90.
Yeah.
Now, this is one that, it does have a Blu-ray, but it's like, wasn't it like Warner Archive or something like that? Or it was made on demand or something. I don't know. I don't have it on Blu-ray.
I'm not sure about the PM on it, but I just know that I remember watching the first time on VHS. I remember renting it. And
yeah, I remember it was on TV quite a bit as well. And for a long time there, I always thought it was like a TV movie for some reason. I don't know why, but it was actually a theatrical movie. Yeah. And one of the early remakes, I mean, the only other one I can think around that time frame would have been The Thing,
right?
A few years earlier.
Yeah,
but
I like it. I mean, there's not a lot of remakes I do like, but the fact that Romero did write it, and Savini directed it. I mean, there's a whole story behind that, because Savini was supposed to be in the original '68, and then he had to go to Vietnam.
Uh-huh.
But he got a second chance.
Yeah, I mean, this was, I remember we interviewed Savini years and years ago. He didn't really want to talk about this movie. I don't know if you knew about that, but
really?
It was not a pleasant experience for him to make this movie. I think that the studio nixed a lot of the things that he wanted to do.
Yeah, they cut
I remember him talking about that. But it's an interesting one, man, because Night of the Living Dead, and I know people probably don't want to agree with this, but this is the movie. I mean, this is the zombie movie. If it wasn't for this movie, the zombie genre would be very different than what it is. It'd probably still be like voodoo-based or whatever else.
Right, so like White Zombie.
Yeah, for sure. So this is the zombie movie. It's not Dawn. I know a lot of people love Dawn of the Dead. I love Dawn of the Dead. But the original Night of the Living Dead, I mean, that's what brought it to the, everybody to the dance, if you will.
What's
so it was
personal favorite between the remake and the '68.
I mean, it's the original for me.
Yeah.
And I think that there's definitely some parts in it that are very amateurish or whatever, but it's so iconic. And I think it's very, very well made for such a low budget movie as well. But I think one of the big things, you said George Romero wrote the movie. One of the big things with Night of the Living Dead was there was no copyright on it.
Right.
So
it was called Night of the Flesh Eaters.
And I guess the thing is you forget if you don't copyright, don't put a copyright in the credits or anything. Hey, it's anybody's movie. You can do what you want to with it. So that's how that happens. And for years and years, John Russo and George Romero were trying to figure out a way to make money from Night of the Living Dead.
Right.
Okay. I mean, this is probably Romero's most iconic movie. I mean, honestly, you can say what you want to. Like, Dawn of the Dead's a classic. I love Day of the Dead as well. Creepshow.
I'm more of a fan of Day out of
I've seen
between that and Dawn.
I've seen Day of the Dead the most, I think.
Yeah. But Night of the Living Dead, you're right.
I mean, I'm burnt out on the movie now. I've seen it so much, I don't hardly ever go back and rewatch it. But for this one, Night of the Living Dead 90, the remake, it'd been a long time since I'd seen it. I mean, I remembered a lot of the cast in it, but it'd been a while. So I'm glad that we got to go back and revisit this one. Now, this is one, too. We were talking about physical releases. You had the VHS tape. This is...
Yeah.
Fuck, what year was this DVD? Like 2000? 1999 DVD. There's never really been a good edition of this out, honestly, which is kind of weird because, Scream Factory, you would think, would be all over something like this to release like a special edition or something.
Right.
On Blu-ray. But we just never got it for whatever reason. It's essentially a pretty direct remake from the original. They make some changes, a few changes throughout, but it's, they're a group of people stuck in a farmhouse and zombies are coming for them. They're coming to get you, Barbara. A lot of familiar faces.
I think the cast was perfect. I mean, everybody.
I'm not a big Candyman fan, but Tony Todd is a great actor. Right. Like, I can watch him in anything. So this was, he did a great performance here. Patricia Tallman, I thought, was an interesting choice.
She's a stunt woman, too, in other films. I kind of like that, how they changed that character, though, because, the old Barbara, she's just a catatonic, she's just like
this version was too at first. She
right.
was kind of scared to death.
And then she snapped.
Yeah, it's very believable. And the makeup effects of this, John Vulich, who I can't ever pronounce his name correctly, he's one of Savini's proteges. He also worked with him on, I think it was Day of the Dead, Two Evil Eyes, Friday the 13th, stuff like that. I thought the look of the zombies in this were really, really good. I mean, they're a little different. They were almost like Day of the Dead, but not quite.
How do you like that cemetery zombie? When he starts jumping up, tipping on his damn suit.
Yeah.
It was just coming up.
Yeah. No, it's definitely got some creepy stuff in it as well with the zombies. One of the things that I picked up on, and I don't know if it was just kind of underlining where I thought this was a TV movie or whatever, but it was almost filmed like a Tales from the Dark Side episode or something like that. Did you get that at all? Like, I don't know I can't put my finger on exactly what made it look like that.
It kind of has those vibes, and that's how Savini really got the opportunity to do this movie, right? Because of Tales from the Dark Side?
Tales from the Dark Side was still around, I think, in 1990 when this came out.
Yeah, he did a couple episodes, though, with Romero.
As far as feature-length movies, though, what else did Savini direct? Did he do anything else?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I'll have to IMDb that. Patricia Tallman, though, was actually in Night Riders. I don't know if you've seen that, Romero. It's a very weird movie. I mean, it's definitely
I remember seeing it back in the day.
One of the more off-the-wall Romero movies, for sure.
Aren't they like on motorcycles?
Yeah, it's like like a Camelot on motorcycles. It's so odd. The music in it is great. Like, I love the music in it. But the movie is, it's okay. He did one called The Theater Bazaar in 2011. But he was like one of like 7 directors. So I think that may have been like an anthology movie. I think and he did like a couple episodes of like The Creep Show.
Right.
And a couple other TV shows. Dead Time Stories Volume 1. What the fuck is that? That's another anthology. So as far as just a feature-length movie, I think this was it for him.
When you watch Night of the Living Dead, the old one or the new one, what do you think what's the main things you get from it? Like when you what it's about? I know it might.
Well, I know Dwayne Jones, like that was the big thing in that time frame, 1968.
Yeah,
making him the hero in the movie, and especially what happens at the very end.
But it's so
That was
yeah.
that was a ballsy thing to do in 1968. I mean, people may not realize that now, but
Yeah.
and I think the feeling with me though as a kid when I first watched it is the feeling of being trapped somewhere that you can't escape, right? And when you're a little kid, you know, I think I watched this for the first time at my grandmother's house when I was probably 7 or 8 years old.
I was pretty young, yeah.
Yeah. So just that feeling alone, like that's the first thing that I remember. It's like, oh my God, where are they going to go? They're stuck in this house.
It's just so odd that the bad guy, Cooper, you know, he's actually right. That's a twist on a movie,
right.
Movie where the bad guy's he's selfish, but he's right as far as surviving, and then the hero is selfless and he's trying to get everybody to work together, but he's wrong as shit. You know what I'm saying?
And they change it up like, you know, Dwayne Jones' character is kind of almost like the voice of reason in the original. Yeah. In the remake, you get the feeling that, you know, Tony Todd and Tom Towles are just griping back and forth at each other like crazy. They just hate each other.
And Barbara's, I guess, the voice of reason.
They changed that. And then another thing that I looked this up and I'm like, what? Cooper in the original was like a racist. Almost. Oh, yeah, they throw some of that in there, right? Did you know, and they didn't do that in the remake, did you know that Tom Towles is African-American, full, both sides?
Really?
Yeah.
He was in Henry Portrait of
He does not, I'm like, what? No. Yeah, I did not know that at all. Dang. And I was looking up stuff on this movie, and I'm like, how? Like, no. I mean, you could almost get that he was half, maybe.
Right.
But no, both of his mom and dad were African-American as well.
Wow.
That's the weirdest thing, yeah.
Damn.
But Tom Towles is a great actor, or he was a great actor. I always like watching him. Very nice man, too. We got to meet him not long before he passed away.
Oh, wow.
Bill Moseley is in the very, very beginning of it, playing Johnny. I think that it was cool to see him in Pittsburgh. Butler. Oh, yeah, he was in it.
Because he's been in all kinds of every stuff. Damn thing. I mean, he's been in Texas Chainsaw 3. And
he was in one of the Friday the 13th movies.
Yeah, 7. And what else?
He's been in all kinds of stuff, yeah. The cast was very interesting in it. I thought it was done well enough. What do you think of the changes towards the end of the movie? What they chose to do with Cooper, especially at the end.
I mean, I was glad she did because he's, you know, piece of shit asshole. You know, he should have, you know, I mean, he was right about the survival part, but he just had the shit wrong as being the selfish asshole and his pride. That's one of the big things I see too from this movie. Is the pride of both characters. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I would say the antagonist is Coop.
And the Ben character isn't shot like he is in the end of the original. He just becomes a zombie.
Right.
So, I mean, the changes, I understand why they wanted to do it because pretty much everybody knew what was going to happen and they wanted to kind of change it up for people and make it fresh. And then she wakes up to like a camp where all these rednecks are set up and they're fighting zombies and they're shooting at zombies in trees.
Yeah. And it's kind of like a trying to make you feel sorry for the zombies, I guess.
Yeah. And Romero did that a lot. Like, what was the fascination with that? I have no idea. But that was done quite a bit in these zombie movies.
And I'm like, well, they're dead. I mean, I'm not, you know.
And so Romero was the writer on this, and this was the last zombie film that he would do until, or be a part of or anything, until it would be in Land of the Dead, right? Wouldn't that have been the next one, like 2005?
Land of the Dead and Survival of the Dead.
He did all kinds of them after that, yeah. Land of the Dead, there's a big gap there. Thumbs up.
Up you butt.
Like, subscribe, And if you subscribe, here's something else you can do. Once you subscribe, you can click the bell notification, right? And it'll notify you anytime that Dead Pit puts up new shit.
Or don't. I really don't give a if you do or
I
not.
want you to. I want you to.
I don't care.
Let's keep our community growing here on YouTube.
I don't like it. I don't want you to do nothing.
Listen, they need to do that, pal.
No, don't you dare touch it.
Thumbs up, subscribe, and click that bell.
For this video officially, it's Old Curly Jaws has a message for you. Go on over to shop.deadpit.com and go look at their Team Public store right now. You got some new shirts like the Old Curly Jaws official t-shirt, which is brutal and badass. You got the Yummy Gummy shirt with the captain himself on the shirt. You got Uncle Bill's face on a fucking shirt. You got the Final Girl shirt. You got all these shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Get them before they're all out, especially the new one, Bedtime 1039. It doesn't get better than that, so go on out. Check out these shirts at shop.deadpit.com. Go look at their Team Public store. You're going to have a good old time. Get them all!
Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. Dead Pit on Patreon.com is the only place to check out a complete archive of the old Dead Pit radio shows all the way back from 2005 on, in addition to the midweek shows and fan commentaries, exclusive podcasts, and much more. Dead Pit on Patreon.com if you're interested. Tiers start at only $1.